So let's do the prayers. Oh, hi, Khalida, wherever you are, welcome. Let's see, so share screen. Oh, I have to claim host. All right, so let me share my screen. Okay. So let's take do our refuge and Bodhichitta prayer. Those of you who have, so I was in a teaching with Jado Rinpoche in last week in California, and so he was talking about this prayer, and especially if you have Bodhisattva vows, then of course, this prayer is very important. Since it's to generate bodhicitta, right, for the benefit of all sentient beings. So, bringing to mind the motivation for Dharma practice, transforming our own minds, certainly, but more importantly, to make our life meaningful by dedicating it to the benefit of all beings, right? I go for refuge until I'm enlightened, to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened, to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. Sangye chodang soki chonam la jang che bardu dagni kapsu chi dagi jin so gipe so actually dagi chen yen gipe sonangi jola penche sangye drupa sho. I think that's it. So let me stop sharing. So last time, just quickly, so last time, if you remember, I don't know if everybody was there last time. Maybe Khalida wasn't, I think. So, the set of this series, Living in the Path, is really about Rinpoche, hearing and putting into practice advice that comes directly from Rinpoche's mouth, right? So that's the goal of this class and the series. Most of our classes are, is the Dharma interpreted through a teacher, right? Someone who's leading them, someone who is talking about the Dharma, explaining Dharma, and so forth and so on. Living in the Path is really about Rinpoche giving advice, practical advice to each and every one of his students and us on how to put the Dharma into practice, right? So it's a little bit of different flavor, and that makes it more, I feel, more special, because what you're hearing, what you will hear is really, the actual transmission that has come down over the centuries, from the Buddha himself, right? Starting with the Buddha. So you're getting it directly from the horse's mouth, so to speak. And I'm here mainly as a, if you will, as a facilitator, right? So if there's explanations needed or me giving an introduction and so forth and so on. So I'm not a teacher here in this series, right? So anyway, so to recap, so last week, we discussed, we saw some videos about Rinpoche, and we discussed how to have the altruistic mind, the bodhicitta attitude in all our actions, all our daily actions, right? Every single action, however trivial, like bathing, like going to sleep, walking up the stairs, down the stairs, so forth and so on. How to have the attitude that we're doing it for the benefit of all beings, right? And so to since there are a couple of people who weren't here last time, so I will just read a section kind of from the introduction that Rinpoche had last time, and to kind of set the stage for the things we'll talk about this time around, right? So he said, if one practices Dharma, if one follows Bodhicitta, the good heart, then it results in the total opposite, happiness for yourself and the happiness of all sentient beings for others. So the paragraph before this, he had quoted His Holiness Dalai Lama talking about, how we, because of our delusions, we are we are continually in the cycle of problems and suffering, right? So here he says, if we follow the good heart, then the results are totally the opposite. The happiness is like that. The happiness of this life just comes without even clinging to that is trying to make it happen. It just happens. It just comes if you have the good heart. Without even thinking about it, it just comes. Not to mention the happiness of future lives, liberation from samsara, and full enlightenment. As well, all those 4 different levels of happiness you're able to cause to numberless sentient beings. By practicing the good heart, even for yourself, in day-to-day, moment-to-moment life, there's happiness even for yourself, a comfortable life, a life without fear, depression, guilt. All of these things, the package of sufferings, don't happen. You don't engage in those things, engage in the suffering things, that is, in the delusions, because of your good heart. Happiness is like the sun shining in the world. Also, it brings peace in the world towards other beings for anybody who is around you. All of this comes from Dharma, from the good heart. And then when death comes, there is nothing to feel sad about. There is only reason to rejoice, to feel great happiness. When death comes, you can die with great happiness and joy because there's nothing to regret, no reason to feel depressed or sadness, right? And the other thing, so, and then, in your recommended reading on the website, you will see the pamphlet, right, that FPMT put together after Rinpoche's advice in this retreat. I was there as well. And so they put together, took his teachings and they put together this pamphlet. And in there, you will see what to think, whenever you are doing any particular action, right? However neutral it might be. And one of the things, like, for example, walking down the stairs, one has the attitude that you're going down to the lower realms to bring the Dharma to them and so forth and so on, right? Or when you're going up the stairs, that you're bringing them up with you to full enlightenment or on the Dharma path, right? Like things like that. Or washing dishes, you're thinking about washing away all your delusions and all the delusions of all sentient beings and so forth and so on. So there's all these things that one can think. And, I was just thinking that it's, it's very hard to have a bodhicitta attitude, right? You know that, I know that, right? Because of, our habitual tendencies, because we only think of ourselves. But it's a great way to train our minds, to just like every little, whenever we think about, we're just planting the seeds in ourselves to change the habit of always thinking about ourselves, right? And so that's a great way, Rinpoche's only goal, to be honest, this is true. Rinpoche's only goal in the entire time he's on this planet, right, is to make things as easy as possible for people to put into practice, right? All the great Dharma advice that's in the texts and so forth and so on, that's all is all academic unless we put them into practice. And he just makes it really, really easy. And so these are the things that makes it really easy for us to change our habits where we're only thinking about ourselves. And so that's one thing that occurred to me. The other thing that occurred to me also is I was reading the section on what to think of when you are putting on perfume. For men, I guess it's aftershave or deodorant, and women, it's perfume and so forth and so on. And that's a great way to also reduce attachment, right? Because we put on, aftershave and so forth and so on. Most of the, let's face it. I mean, you can get aftershave. I mean, we can put on aftershave that doesn't have any perfume, right? But that's not what we do, right? I mean, we put on an aftershave that has perfume in it for a particular reason, right? Because we want to smell good. We want to be attractive to the opposite sex, whatever the hell it is, right? So, it's all attachment, right? And it's just, it's just feeding the same habits that we've had for eternity, from beginning of lives. And so what Rinpoche is doing is, when you are thinking about something else, someone else, when we're putting on perfume, we're basically turning it up, turning it, the other way around, right? And it totally changes the way our habit, so that's the way so it has a twofold, it's a twofer, right? I mean, not only is it creating merit, right? Because of our, every action becomes virtuous, right? Every neutral action, like bathing, right, becomes virtuous. Eating becomes virtuous. Everything, anything, going to the toilet becomes virtuous. But not only that, but it's also actually a cause for us to, overcome our delusions, right? Overcome our ignorance and overcome our self-centeredness. And so, it's a really amazing, when you think about it, it's a really amazing practice. It's simple, but so effective. I wish I did it more. I'm sorry. But I do think about some of these things sometimes, but not often enough. In any case, so that's kind of the, where we were last time. And we spoke, and Rinpoche gave an introduction. And then he also spoke about how to sleep with bodhicitta, the attitude to have when we go to sleep. And he had actually a specific, a specific mantra to say when we go to sleep. Do you all have the transcript, by the way? Somebody not have the transcript? Corley, you weren't there last time, right? No. And I don't think Kalida was either. Maybe so. I'm not sure. I can't remember. So what I'll do is I'll put the transcript in the chat box, because that'll, let me finish my sentence and then I'll do it. That'll help you if you have trouble following Rinpoche's words, in the videos, right? Today, that is, as well as you can go back to, like last week, for example, for the videos where he had the mantra for sleeping and so forth and so on. So you can refer to those, because unfortunately they didn't put that in the pamphlet. So this transcript will help you. Let me get the thing up. Where'd it go? I lost my chat box. Okay. All right, so it's getting uploaded, so you'll see it in just a second. Let's see. So today, we're going to talk. We're going to watch a video. Well, watch videos, but the one we'll start with is bathing with bodhicitta, right? And you can look at the transcript as well. That's there. When we watch the video, let me set it up. By the way, did anyone have any questions before we get started? Anything that's I said that needed explanation? Anything that's not clear if you weren't here last time, and so forth and so on? No? Okay.
Can I make sure that I have the right thing? I have cultivating mindfulness of bodhicitta and daily activities. Is that the one that? No.
Let me check. It's just a chapter 1 to 6 of Lamazopa teachings. Isn't that what it says?
No, I have what never mind. I downloaded from the website.
Oh yeah, the website has the pamphlet. That's the one that FPMT, it basically this, it's a small, I'm sorry. It has the same information as as in the transcript for the most part, except that Rinpoche is going into more detail about how to sleep with bodhicitta and bathe and so forth and so on, right? Because those are actions, sleeping, bathing, eating are three of the more, sleeping and eating certainly are two things that we are really attached to, right? So that's one thing. And bathing, I'm not sure I'm attached to bathing, but we spend a lot of time bathing, but not just that, but it actually has extra significance because then one can think about, washing our body as also washing away delusions and so forth. So it has a kind of a relationship, if you will, right? So I think that's why Rinpoche concentrates on it. I'm assuming so. I don't know for sure. All right. Let's see, what was I doing? Oh, yes, I was getting the video up. Let me share my screen. Okay, so you should be able to see this now. Okay, so that's the next. So that's a sleeping with bodhicitta. Okay. So then bathing with bodhicitta. Oh, they don't have a video for it. Interesting. Okay, well, I'll read it and you can follow in the transcript as well. Interesting. I thought they had it. Did I miss it? Oh yeah, okay. So they don't have the video, but they have the transcript for it. So
Shankha, it's there. Sleeping with Bodhicitta.
is a video there? I don't know.
The one I just downloaded does.
Huh.
How interesting.
Well, I'm on their website, which should, if anything, that's the one that should have it. Sleeping with Bodhicitta. Oh, there it is now. Okay. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah, strange.
Okay, so you can see it, right?
It is mentioned in the Lamazopa teachings. Lamazopa explained, and the Lamazopa teachings what is explained. The sleeping yoga.
Wait, no, but this is sleeping.
So it is mentioned sutra that
we won the bathing because we already did sleeping yesterday or last time around. So let me do bathing, and that's the one that doesn't seem to have a video. So I'll just read it, and then you can follow. So when you're washing, before washing, generate the motivation. I am going to free the numberless sentient beings from whom I have received all my past, present, and future happiness and bring them to enlightenment by myself. Therefore, I'm going to offer a bath to the guru and the rare sublime ones. Okay, so this actually, okay, so I see why he has bathing in here now. So maybe I'll give it a short, kind of explanation of why, why this is here. So in Tantra practice, especially in highest yoga Tantra, and twice a month, we do the Sog offering, right? The special tantric celebration, really, and offering to the deities, right? Deity. And as part of that, if you have been to some of them, when we do the Lamazopa, so Lamazopa is a supplication, it's a long practice. It's a supplication to the guru and asking for, prayers and blessings and so forth and so on. In there is actually a bathing, like offering a bath to the deity, right? And the reason that's there, and just like in the offerings that we make on the altar, right? Argampa. So water to wash your feet, Argampa, water for drinking, water for washing your Argampa, flowers, incense, light, perfume, food, and music, right? So those are the standard offerings we make on the altar, right? I can never remember them in English. I only remember them in Sanskrit, so I always have to do that. And those come from, old India, when all this whole, everything, all this tradition started, it was in India, right? And 2,500 years ago. And so when your guru or when the Buddha came to someone's house, it was like a king visiting, like a prince visiting. And so that's what you would normally, a king would offer to another king or a prince or whatever, right? All those offerings, water to wash your feet, because you mostly wore sandals, so your feet would get dirty, and so forth and so on, right? So the bathing ritual, the offering a bath to the deity is similar to that, so you would offer bath with perfume, scented water, and all this, and then massage them with oil afterward, and so forth and so on, right? So that's kind of, so it's all about making an offering to the deity, to the guru, and so forth and so on, as a way of creating merit. The merit is really for our own benefit, right? For our own enlightenment, finally. So that's what the context in which this bathing ritual is about. So then I will keep going. Did that make sense? Yeah? Okay. All right. So that's when he talks about, if you have received an initiation, either a higher or lower Tantra initiation, purify in emptiness and visualize yourself as the deity. Right? So that's part of Tantra practice. When one generates oneself, Tantra, in a very simple way to explain it is to imagine oneself as the deity, as if one is fully enlightened, right? And practicing, our daily actions are basically actions of the deity, right? So it's kind of like, what's one of my teachers said, fake it till you make it. That's right. So it's kind of like fake it till you make it, right? And one day we will be like a deity. But until then, we are essentially practicing as if, because it's training for us, right? So a deity only does virtuous deeds and so forth and so on. So that it's like that for us as well. So when one generates oneself out of as a deity, it's not just like imagining like I'm an actor, right? It's really out of emptiness, right? So that's why, because all of, at the core of all things, they're empty of inherent existence. And because they're empty of inherent existence, things can change, right? And because things can change, we can become a deity, right? And so it's like that, and at the Dharmakaya of a Buddha, the mind of the Buddha is emptiness, right? That's the truth, the body of the truth body becomes the mind. As one becomes a Buddha, becomes the truth body, which is the Dharmakaya, which is the emptiness. It's basically the emptiness of the mind becomes the Buddha's body, right? So that's why, you arise as a deity from the emptiness, right? And that's what Rinpoche is talking about here. So you purify emptiness and visualize yourself as a deity. But the most important thing is not the deity. It is to focus on the guru from whom you have received the deity's initiation, or your root guru. Now, this is also very important because the point of Tantra, not the point of Tantra, a basis of Tantra is that the guru and the deity are inseparable, right? So in other words, the deity is no different from the guru and vice versa, right? So if you read the first section of the Lam Rim on guru devotion, that's what that's about. In Mahayana practice, this is not true in the Theravadin tradition, where the guru is not held in this kind of, I don't know what the word is, reverence, if you will. But in Mahayana tradition, the guru is like that's why, devoting oneself to the guru is the fundamental basis on which one progresses on the path, right? And Tantra takes it one step further, which is that, we want to become like the deity, and we want to become like the guru. The guru considering the guru as the same as the deity is what kind of engenders the devotion, wants us to become like them, values their qualities, thinks about their kindness, and really just has great devotion to them, which is what propels one on the path, makes things go faster. And that's why, Tantra is considered, the quick path, although, but that's another long story. I won't go there. So that's why here he says, it is to focus on the guru from whom you have received the deity's initiation, or your root guru, right? So root guru is, the one whom you hold, as the closest in your heart, right? And the one from whom you receive an initiation certainly becomes one of your primary gurus, right? So for example, when, I had not met in person Jado Rinpoche till last Thursday I went to California, as I mentioned to some people, to get teachings from him, and there was an initiation he gave, right? And as part of the initiation, Jado Rinpoche immediately becomes one of my gurus. So now I have 7 instead of 6, so now when I do that practice, I will hold him, as inseparable from the deity, right? So if I've, so that's what this is talking about, is that, you focus on the guru and you're offering the bath to him or her, and not just, visualize, as a deity, as just a deity, right? Does that make sense? Okay, this is actually more complicated than I thought it was going to be. Okay, mainly focus on him or her, then you collect the most extensive merit. When washing, offer a bath to the guru, initiating a bath to the guru. Initiating deities or goddesses initiate you with the vase water. Okay, so this is all Tantra related. I'm not going to go into too much detail here because there's a vase initiation, there's various parts of the Tantra practice. And if you are practicing Lamazopa, you'll see in there, like the vase initiation and so offering the vase water and so forth and so on. But in any case, that's not the most important part. In any case, what you think is you can think that, then generate great bliss, because that's what the mind of a Buddha is, or the deity, or the guru is one of great bliss, right? That is not so much mentioned in the lower Tantra, but it is okay to do so. Certainly in higher Yoga Tantra, that is, the mind of great bliss is what we achieve to do. While washing, meditate on that, yourself, the guru, experiencing that infinite bliss. It is fantastic. You don't have to wash with a depressed mind, with a self-pitying mind. So what he's doing here is essentially making, taking a bath or a shower into a Tantra practice, right? And if you're on the Tantric path and you've taken initiation and you have, certain commitments that one has to keep, right? Like practicing a particular, if you have taken a initiation in, let's say, Heruka Vajrasattva, then you have to practice the sadhana, the prayers and the rituals to that deity every day, usually, right? Every morning, or every day. And so this bathing becomes basically that practice, so it's a really wonderful way of transforming the mind. Basically, you're offering your action to the guru, and there's nothing that's probably more beneficial in creating merit than that, and that's why when we cover the section on eating, for example, I'm sure Rinpoche would mention this as, to offer the food to the guru and as nectar and so forth and so on. So offering to the guru is the, it's said in the Lamrim, the most beneficial, most merit collecting, because if you remember the field of merit, like the guru is even above the Buddha, right? So because the guru, okay, I'm going more into explain. The guru is, I'm just trying to explain all this because to those who may not know, it's really important to understand why, right? Why is all this here? It's not just mumbo jumbo that we just have to do. We have to understand why it is. And so the guru is more precious than the Buddha for many reasons. One of them is that we don't have the karma to meet the Buddha, right? The Buddha may appear in front of us right now, appear in front of me, but I wouldn't recognize him or her as a Buddha because I just don't have the karma to see him or her as such, right? However, the guru has appeared in front of me, giving me teachings, giving me advice, and helping me on the Dharma path, right? Out of his infinite kindness. He doesn't have to, he's the one who is essentially helping me, guiding me on the path, because I don't have the karma to be guided by a Buddha, right? So it says in the Lamrim, the Buddhas are kind of like, when things are, it's like they appear when you already have the karma. It's like the things are already going well and then they appear. The guru actually appears when things are going badly, right? Badly being like, we're in the suffering human realm or whatever, right? And so they're infinitely more precious because of that, right? And there are other reasons as well, but that's one, so those are the kind of reasons why the guru is considered more precious than the Buddha. And so you'll see on an altar, for example, the guru's picture or his, picture is above the Buddha statue and so forth and so on in a lot of cases, Okay, but the guru is no different than the deity and the Buddha. So that's the other thing to remember, because his mind and the deity or the Buddha's mind are basically, have the same essence, right? They're of the same nature. All right. So he mentions, okay, so while washing meditation, that yourself, the guru, experiencing that infinite bliss, it is fantastic. You don't have to wash with a depressed mind, with a self-pitying mind, because then, even if I'm depressed because for whatever reason, when I'm taking the bath, this changes my mind, right? I am offering it to the guru. It's a joyous thing to do. So like that. And so then he said, if you want to do the short way, when washing, recite this. Okay, so Guru Vajradhara, embodiment of all the three refuges, takes the form of the virtuous friend to subdue beings in whatever ways needed, and grants the supreme and common realizations to the kind gurus. I offer this bath. Om Sarva Tathagata Abhishekata Samaya Shriye Ahom. So then he explains it. Yourself, Guru Vajradhara. So Guru Vajradhara is a primordial Buddha, right? So he's the primordial Buddha, especially in Tantra. So that's Guru Vajradhara. And on all the other Buddhas and deities are emanations, if you will, of him. So yourself, Guru Vajradhara, encompassing all the three objects of refuge, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, taking the form of the virtuous friend, the Guru, having various aspects for whomever they subdue, manifesting in the form of a virtuous friend for whomever is to be subdued. Relate this meditation to your virtuous friend, that is the Guru. Here, I am not saying, okay, this is because he was at the retreat, right? He was sitting on the throne, so he's talking about himself now. Here, I am not saying I'm a Buddha. I'm not saying that, but this is the meditation. Then, who grants the common and sublime realizations? It is very important to focus on yourself as the Guru. Do the same thing when you do the Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga. Of course, there is the name Lama Tsongkhapa, but if you don't understand it, you might think it is only Lama Tsongkhapa, the Tibetan Lama Tsongkhapa. In India, anyone who is Tibetan, who speaks Tibetan, is called Lama. Okay, he's going to the story now. Like the police, if people speak Tibetan, if people in India, like, a lot of times, especially in the old days, if you see a Tibetan person, everybody will just say Lama, like, oh, Lama so-and-so, so it's not like, he's some revered being. It's just that, the Indians will just say Lama to the Tibetan person. That's what I'm talking about. So when we are talking about Lama Tsongkhapa, we are not talking about that. So here, so that's an important thing in any Guru Yoga, right? Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga, or when we make prayers to Tara, Tara Puja or so on. So when we are thinking of, when we are making prayers or whatever to the deities or to the Lama Tsongkhapa or whatever, we, the ultimate guru is, is ourself, our own mind that will become enlightened, right? That's who we are, what we want to achieve, right? So they said the ultimate guru is really our own, the emptiness of our own mind, right? Which will reach fruition. And that's what we're making prayers in a way to that, which is inseparable from the guru, which is inseparable from the Buddhas, and which is inseparable from the deities, and so forth and so on, right? Because ultimately all of us have Buddha nature, right? And we are the same in the Dharmakaya, along with the Buddha's mind and the deities and the teacher and the guru's mind. And that's why a lot of times in Guru Yoga, Geshe-la, for example, when he's leading the Guru Yoga, or anybody else will say, if you have highest Yoga Tantra, then the Guru descends to your heart, or if you haven't, then the Guru melts in, like Muru melts in your crown of your head, right? I don't know if some of you have been there, you will remember that. And that's what that's about, is because the Guru then, and your Guru's mind and one's own mind become the same, because of it's like water being poured on water. It's basically like, as inseparable, they're not indistinguishable, right? So that's what we're talking about here, and that's what he says. Guru, he means he and your root guru, that is a Guru Shakyamuni Buddha, and your root guru are oneness, and then oneness, your root guru, Shakyamuni Buddha, and Lama Tsongkhapa, your guru and Tara, everybody, all these deities and your guru are one, right? And then at the end, of course, you become one with the guru and the deity as well. Questions? Did all that make sense, Louis? I can't hear you.
I haven't received any tantric initiations, but I know it intellectually.
Okay.
So it makes sense on that level.
Right. Well, I mean, you don't have to receive tantric. You can do, anybody can do Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga, right? So, and it's a incredibly, and especially if one is studying the Lamrim on this path, right? Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga is really is a very, very, it's almost like a foundation. If one wants to make progress on the path, it is really, really true. And I have learned this myself in my own practice. The Guru devotion makes things just happen easier. Things become easier. Obstacles become easier to overcome. Things that would have been bigger obstacles become smaller, smaller molehills, if you will. Guru devotion makes all the difference and it makes one continue on the path. One makes one less, dejected, sometimes disappointed, whatever, I'm not making enough progress, all this other stuff, right? All the things that we're all prone to, self-doubt and all. So Guru devotion is a really important piece, and doing a Guru Yoga, I mean, I encourage all of you, if you, to do any kind of, Tara Puja, for example, is a Guru Yoga. All of these things are Guru Yoga. If you go to Medicine Buddha practice or all these things are Guru Yogas, right? They're no different. I mean, they have slightly different flavors, but at the end, they're all the same. So you don't need a tantric initiation. So for Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga especially. So anyway, so that's all I'm saying, Yeah. Okay. there is one Lama whose incarnation, Lama incarnation lives in France, from whom His Holiness Song Rinpoche received an initiation. In his past life, he called all the deities guru. That is extremely good for reminding the mind to remember that the guru and the deity are the one. So you chant that, the recitation that he just mentioned. The short way is just to chant Kyabje Kundu Lama Dorje Chang, yes. So this is Kyabje Kundu Lama Dorje Chang is a prayer in the beginning of I think it's in the beginning of Lamazopa. But in any case, if you don't do the practice, you don't have to do that. So your short wish is while washing, it reminds you of that meditation. Then if you want to elaborate, you can do it like the offering bath. And this is the offering bath I was telling you about, the Lamazopa Georgia, where in the prayer book, there is the long bath offering. There are gradual prayers. You can follow the short, middle, or elaborate offering bath. If you want, you can bless the water by chanting Om Mani Padme Hum, or the mantras of the 5 powerful deities of purification. Chant each of their mantras a few times and blow on the water, whereby it becomes powerful to purify negative karma, such that if touched, it purifies negative karma. Then after the offering bath comes perfume. For those who, not Sangha, but those who use perfume or scented smell after a bath, that is lay people, then it's very good to see yourself as the guru, the embodiment of the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and make offerings to yourself. So you collect so much merit. Remember what I talked about, that is, the ultimate guru is our own minds, ourselves. That the guru, the mind that will become a Buddha and guru to everyone else, right? So then there is anointing the holy bodies. So this is the holy body of our own body, right? Because we are like the Buddha. So like polishing gold, already pure and refined, so do I apply the best of perfumes, fragrantly filling the billion universes to the dazzling holy bodies of the Munis. The Munis here meaning the Buddhas. Then when you dress, offer dress to yourself, the Guru deity, reciting the prayer. By offering soft, smooth, and fine divine dress with indestructible faith in you who have attained the indestructible Vajra holy body, may I too achieve the Vajra holy body. Thin, light, divine dress to the indestructible Vajra, I offer with devotion. At that time, although the Tibetan prayers are okay, that's just detail. Lay people, when putting on ornaments, those who wear ornaments normally, recite this prayer while offering ornaments to the Guru, the merit field. Because the victorious ones are adorned by the natural ornaments of the signs and exemplifications, I'll mention what that is, they do not need any other kind of ornament, but by offering these supreme jewel ornaments, may all transmigratory beings achieve the holy body adorned with all the signs and exemplifications. Chant that and make offerings to yourself, the Guru deity, so you can collect unimaginable merits. May I achieve the holy body adorned with the signs and exemplifications. The signs and exemplifications are basically the, all the Buddhas have certain there's 32 major marks and a bunch of minor marks. I can't remember, but for example, like you will see a Buddha with a ushnisha, the top knot, on the crown of his head, there'll be a little protrusion, so that's one of the signs, for example, of a Buddha. Their fingers and toes are somewhat webbed, so that's another sign. Then their hair curls to the clockwise, right, like that. Am I I don't know, I can't tell. Anyway, so those are the signs and exemplification. So he's talking, they're saying that they don't need ornaments because they have the natural ornaments of sign, and they have the body always smells wonderful. You don't need perfume. All that stuff. So anyway, so that's what that is. And, so really what he's doing here is basically making the bathing ritual into a practice. And the practice is one of creating the merit to be of benefit, right? I mean, that's why we all want to create merit, right? Because we want to become Buddhas so that we can be of benefit, right? And there is no better way of creating merit than offering to the Buddhas, especially offering to the Guru, anything, any offering to the Guru, however small, right? That says, creates more merit than all the sand, all the grains of sand in the river Ganges, right? So like that, any small offering, however little, has huge benefit. And so the bathing ritual becomes a great beneficial practice, right? And that's what, whether or not you practice highest yoga tantra, whether you practice highest yoga tantra or whatever is not really the point here. I think the point is, to think about the Guru. Most of you probably have gurus. If not, you can think about someone who you really look up to, or who you want to be like. It can be His Holiness Dalai Lama, even if you haven't met him, or Pope Francis, it doesn't matter, right? But someone who you hold in high regard, who exemplifies everything that you want to be, and use that person, right? If you don't have a root guru. And the other thing, as we talk about especially in the Guru devotion section of the Discovering Buddhism and the Lamrim or whatever, if we make offerings like this to the Guru, even if we make offerings like this to say His Holiness Dalai Lama or Pope Francis or whoever, because we don't have a Guru, we are creating the exact same conditions to meet a Guru who will guide us with personal advice and so forth and so on, right? So it has immense, rich rewards in this life and in every other future life, because we create the causes for the Guru to continue to meet the Guru, have human lives the next time around, and create the causes to meet our Gurus over and over again, so they can keep guiding us, until we ourselves become Buddhas, right? So anyway, so that's this practice. Did all that make sense? Okay, so then comes the next one. Should we take a break before we start the next one? 5 minutes? What do you think? Since it's a good place. Yeah, okay. So we'll meet in 5 minutes. So that's 2:55, Mountain Time. So whatever it is, wherever you are.
Shankha, I have a question about Guru Yoga.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you have multiple gurus, I'm not sure how you manage that. Like, do you focus on a particular guru for a particular practice, combine them together, mix it up?
Yeah. Okay. So, oops. All right. So, so it depends, right? So as with everything, usually, okay, first of all, the gurus are all in the Dharmakaya, in their mind. They're all of the same nature. Okay, so it's the analogy they use is that like for example, Chenrezig, or Vajrapani or Manjushri or whoever deity practice one is doing, Chenrezig's mind is of the same nature as Vajrapani's mind or Manjushri's mind, or Lama Tsongkhapa's mind for that matter, because all the enlightened minds are of the same nature. And the analogy they use is kind of like many rivers flowing to the same ocean, right? Ultimately, they're all of this, all the rivers are of the same nature of water, right? But each river does have its own, stream or one quality, if you will. That's not to say that, you know, Manjushri has qualities that Vajrapani doesn't have. It's just that Manjushri, when we are making prayers to Manjushri, we are making prayers concentrating on a particular aspect of the enlightened mind, right? Wisdom in this case, or Vajrapani would be the powerful aspect, right? Or Chenrezig would be the compassionate aspect. But that's not to say that Manjushri doesn't have compassion or Vajrapani doesn't have compassion, right? So they're all the same nature. And similarly with Lama Tsongkhapa, right? The Guru, when we are making supplication to the Guru and thinking of them as the same as a deity, that's exactly the same way, right? Okay, so that's kind of like the basic introduction, if you will, to different gurus and deities. Now, to your specific question about when we're making when we were taking certain practices, which gurus do we make do we focus on? It depends. So, for example, if you have a highest Yoga Tantra initiation from, say, Lamazopa Rinpoche, let's say that you have a Yamantaka initiation from Lamazopa Rinpoche, and there, when one is thinking of the guru in certain places, you would usually think of Lamazopa Rinpoche because he is the one who gave you the initiation, right? He is the one who initiated into the deity's mandala, to be exact, right? So one thinks of that guru. If you're doing something that's, like Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga, which doesn't require an initiation, and it says in there that, you imagine the guru as inseparable from the deity, you can choose whichever guru you want, right? Whichever guru you feel close to that day, in fact, right? And I know people, I do that sometimes, but I know people who do that, one of my teachers has 29 gurus, right? So how do you keep track of all of them? Well, he kind of just, whoever he's feeling close to that day, maybe read a book, maybe he read a section of his sum of text the night before, so he was kind of thinking of him. So he'll use that guru as his focus that morning, right? So yeah, it's up to you, whatever you feel like. That's the short answer.
I like that. Thank you.
Yeah, because they don't get jealous. That's the beauty of it.
Good. So I don't have to worry about hierarchy or
no
offending one and quote unquote using another. And
that's right. Because remember, the gurus gave us these practices to basically for our own transforming our own minds, right? Not for their own benefit, right? So they don't care which guru you're using. Whatever, if it makes a difference in your mind to use guru number X, even though guru number Y gave you the initiation, it makes more of a helpful. I think guru number X would be perfectly happy with that. Yeah.
good.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
So sure. Okay. Thank you for the question. Anybody else have any questions? Yeah. Okay. Very good. Then I just want to mention that if you are interested, okay, first of all, I don't know if you know this or not, Geshe, I can't remember his name, on Friday nights, and I wanted to join on Friday night, but my plane from California got delayed, so I couldn't join. But he is leading a class, a series on how to make offerings, right? So if you are able to, Friday evening Mountain Time, it really, I can tell you that it will be of immense benefit, right? You can watch the video. I'm sure it's probably online by now on our YouTube site for the last Fridays. But if you're able, so because those are the kinds of things that gives one training about how to make offerings, when you're eating, when you're bathing, the bath offering, and you get you get a kind of an understanding of how it works, so yeah, so that's one thing. The other thing I'll mention also is if you go to FPMT, they have lots of, so for example, I'll share this. So for example, here's a pamphlet from FPMT on how to make, how to make light offerings and other offerings that Rinpoche, instructions from Rinpoche, right? So it has a lot of these prayers that he's talking about. So when he refers to these, Lama Kundus, Lama Kundusang, so he's kind of like, a lot of these are in these practices, right? So you can look online, or you can ask me if you need help. I can point you to them, because I have a lot of these myself anyway. And so they give you kind of a sense of how to make offering, why it's beneficial to make, the background and all this other stuff, right? I'm trying to give you a background as we go along, but it's better to get it directly from Rinpoche, in these booklets and so forth and so on. All right. Louis, were you, did you, yeah.
Real quick question. What's the name of your PDF program?
Oh, I just use Acrobat.
Oh, you use Acrobat? Okay.
Yeah, it's just a free version, free, Acrobat reader. So yeah.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So then the next one is about eating, I believe. Let me check. Eating with Bodhichitta, yeah. And this one does have a video. Oh no, it doesn't have a video. I was positive all of these had videos. Okay. So this is actually, so eating with Bodhichitta is a really important one. Because number one, it's very easy to do. Number two, we eat all the time. So there's so many opportunities. Every time you put in a potato chip in your mouth, you can think all these things, right? So we eat all the time. And so it's easy, there's so many opportunities to make these offerings, right? And to think about other beings. And we spend a lot of time eating, so it's, every minute that we are cultivating bodhicitta is really, really beneficial, right? So let's see what Rinpoche has to say. And eating is actually a big part in Buddhist practice. Is, whenever, like if we were on retreat, for example, or not on retreat, I mean, I do, like anytime I'm sitting down to eat a meal, I will, most of us Rinpoche students who have put his words into practice will do an a food offering prayer, not as elaborate as Rinpoche makes it, but whatever we can do, right? Okay. So the daily activities that you are doing, the point is to make them most beneficial for sentient beings, a cause for enlightenment. A cause for oneself to attain omniscience so that one can liberate sentient beings from the oceans of sufferings, samsaric suffering, and bring them to enlightenment. Make the activities that you normally do in daily life anyway, for survival and so forth, make them most beneficial. Make them not only Dharma, but the purest Dharma, the cause of enlightenment to achieve the cessation of all mistakes of the mind and complete all the qualities, the highest success. It is explaining the teachings that by practicing eating yoga, you transform your eating into eating yoga. So eating is just at best, a neutral action, right? I mean, eating can be a negative action if our motivation is to, well, let me see. If our motivation, is the old-fashioned term gluttony, right? That's a word that we use in one of our prayers. Is I'm eating not out of gluttony, but out of, just to support the body so that I can be of benefit, right? So out of gluttony, or for example, eating because we want to get big muscles so that we can become hunky and attractive to the opposite sex, or at least for a man. I mean, for me, that was at one time, that was my objective. And many things like that, right? So that can be negative, right? But so at best, eating is neutral. But what Rinpoche is saying is that we can make eating into a great practice, a beneficial practice, a practice of creating merit, So that's why it's called eating yoga. So that is one thing. That is the most important thing. Then you are making offerings to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Then you are making charity to all sentient beings, including those living in your body. The many tiny creatures, sentient beings that are living in your body, to bring them to enlightenment. How can you do that? By revealing Dharma when they become a human being. And how do you do that? While they are in your body, by making food charity to them. That is why Buddha explained the eating yoga, so that your eating and drinking becomes the yoga of eating and drinking. If you don't do that, what happens is that your eating becomes ordinary eating, just for pleasure and survival, and is done with attachment. It just becomes a cause of samsara, just another cause of samsara, to be reborn again in samsara and experience all the sufferings again. And not only that, in particular, to be reborn in the lower realms. If eating is done with attachment, seeking the happiness of this life, then you get reborn in the lower realms. There is one quotation in Pabonka. This is Pabonka Rinpoche, whose words are, were put down in Liberation in the Palm of Our Hands, right? There's a one quote, and one of his famous compositions on Guru devotion is called Calling the Guru from Afar. So in there he says, in every moment, in every second, it is in your hands. Whatever action you are doing, as to whether it becomes the cause of enlightenment or the cause of hell, the cause of the lower realms or the cause of enlightenment, the cause of liberation from samsara or the cause of samsara. It is similar, even for this life, whether it becomes the cause of a problem now or the cause of peace, inner peace now. If you eat with a healthy mind, free from attachment, grasping to the pleasure of this life, then it becomes inner peace. Otherwise, it becomes a problem. Even today in this life, because there is no peace in your heart, but disturbances, unhappiness, no satisfaction, dissatisfaction, so it just becomes a cause of problems. Totally, it is in your hands. Liberation from samsara is totally in your hands. When eating, walking, sleeping, doing your job, whether you want it to become the cause of liberation or the cause of samsara, it's in your hands. It depends on your mind. It depends on how you think. It depends on your motivation. So everything is totally in your hands. There are three things: the cause of samsara, the cause of the lower realms, and then one more. You are running out of merits. Because we are continuing using up our positive merits, right? You receive this food, this enjoyment as a result of past good karma, some merits collected in the past. You're living on that result. So what you are doing is just finishing that. You are just only using that, finishing your merit. That is it. If there is no continual merit, if you don't make this action dharma, then there is no continual making of merit. It is like living on the money you collected with hard work in the past, but it finishes fast if you are not collecting any more money by working. Like that, you're living on the merit collected in the past by practicing Dharma, but it is finishing. When it finishes, then you experience a result of past negative karma. That is why many wealthy people, they become wealthy early in life, and at that time have no idea that this came from good karma, no idea at all. They think they will be rich in this life forever because they don't understand Dharma. They don't use their money, their wealth to collect merits. So everything is done with attachment, clinging to this life. Therefore, everything becomes negative karma. There is nothing that becomes virtue, collecting merits. Then after some time, they run out of merit. Then nothing is working. Everything is stopped. Then they can't even pay the rent for their house. Even the things you don't normally have to worry about, like paying rent for the house, even basic things become an unbelievable worry. Then they cannot take care of their family. By the way, he's mentioning this because he actually had, at some other point in the same retreat, he had talked about a specific person in Hong Kong who used to be one of his students, who actually this, it's kind of related to that, so he's not just making this up. While they are wealthy, they didn't meet the Dharma. There is no Dharma. Even if they heard Dharma, but they did not practice it. They did not use their wealth to collect extensive benefit by making charity to sentient beings and offerings to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. You didn't do that. So when you run out of merit, at that time, you have to keep your image, a rich house, rich this and that, because you are in a rich society. You joined many of these people, so you have to keep the image. Maybe as a Western person, maybe not much. It may be more in the East, Indians. Then they suffer so much. They don't have money, but they have to keep up the image. Then there are lots of debts, masses of problems, on and on like this. This is what happens. There are three problems that happen if this one action of eating doesn't become Dharma. The danger that happens. There's one thing to know. Everything is in your hands. It depends on your mind. These are very powerful words. I don't remember them exactly, but think that. It kind of gives the idea. So now he goes into, how to eat. And, in different traditions have different ways of doing this. So he mentions that, right? So you can pick and choose which one you want. It doesn't matter. So there you go. Although the Mahayana, okay, so no, it's not true that you can pick whichever way you want, because the Mahayana one is the one that is, devoted to benefiting other beings, right? So that's the one should at least consider Mahayana. If not, if you're on the Tantra path, then you can consider the Vajrayana way of doing things. So do people know about Hinayana, Mahayana, and Vajrayana, what he means by Hinayana, Mahayana, Vajrayana ways of eating? Okay. To make a long story short, there are essentially three traditions, if you will, in three streams in the Buddhist path, and different people belong in different streams based on which teacher they follow and so forth and so on. So the Hinayana, which nowadays is considered Hinayana can be considered in the old days in India, it wasn't a pejorative term, but now it can be kind of a little bit negative term. So it's more like a Theravadin tradition, right? So in East Asia and South Asia and Sri Lanka, for example, in East Asia, Southeast Asia, that's mainly what they follow, the Theravadin tradition. And there the emphasis is on attaining one's own liberation, right? Nirvana, right? And that's the final goal. Which liberation from samsara. That means that we're not reborn. We're freedom from our cyclic existence, right? That's liberation. Mahayana is not liberation is a step, but not the final goal. Enlightenment is the final goal. Enlightenment here being liberation plus great compassion. That is, I want to attain liberation, of course, but not because for myself, but rather to bring all other beings to the same state, right? So I will work tirelessly until I can bring every other being, to enlightenment, right? So that's the Mahayana path. And that's the path we follow in our tradition here. And Vajrayana has the same goal, enlightenment and bringing all others to enlightenment, but its emphasis is on how it does that, and that's based on the Tantric tradition. So Vajrayana is a Tantric tradition where one uses Tantra to attain enlightenment and the enlightenment of all beings. So those are the three different ways of eating he talks about now. Okay, so there's the eating yoga of the Theravadin, eating food unstained by the three poisonous minds of anger, attachment, and ignorance, but just to survive in order to practice the Dharma. So in other words, that's the prayer that I was talking about, where it says, I'm eating this food not for my own benefit, but and not out of gluttony, but rather just to support the body so that I can practice the Dharma. Right. So that's what, so that's what he's talking about here. Oh, well, as he mentions it here, there is a prayer that monks commonly recite in the Theravadin tradition. It says, seeing this food as medicine, we eat it without attachment or hatred, not to become fat, not out of pride, not to look strong, but only to sustain the body. Right. So that's the Theravadin way of offering food. Eating is not for beauty of the body, elegance, or to become soft, flexible, all that. It is just to survive in order to practice Dharma, and the goal being of liberation or personal liberation. The Bodhisattva way, that is the Mahayana path, the Bodhisattva way of performing eating yoga is that you yourself are the servant serving all sentient beings who are your Lord and Master. They are the precious ones from whom you receive all past, present, and future happiness. So you are a servant to them. So they're from whom you're, I'm sorry, Louis, you were going to ask? Oh, so they're the precious ones from you receive past, present, and future happiness, because if it weren't for their kindness, we wouldn't be here. Our mother, for example, or the person who grows the corn for the corn tortillas or whatever it is, right? So it's because of others' kindness that we even are here. And then, of course, it's because of others' kindness that we will become Buddhas, because if we didn't have people, to serve, then we wouldn't reach enlightenment, right? So that's what he's talking about. A bodhisattva eats food to serve them. That is the bodhisattva eating yoga. There is a prayer to achieve enlightenment for sentient beings. And then for the sentient beings living in the body, you make charity to them, and they achieve enlightenment. That is the bodhisattva way of doing eating yoga. So here he talks about, here is the one to use the Mahayana path. Through gathering together the organisms in my body with material things at the present, in the future, may I gather them with the Dharma. In order to achieve the state of a complete Buddha for the welfare of sentient beings, I will consume this food and drink, right? Now, the tantric way, that's the Vajrayana path of doing eating yoga, is that you use what you're eating as an offering or burning offering practice. Soga offering is basically a special kind of offering that we make to the Buddhas and the gurus and the deities. Then your eating becomes that practice, a soga offering or burning offering practice. For soga offerings, normally what you do is visualize the guru, Buddha, deity in front. Remember, they're all one. But mainly here, based on having received a tantric initiation, you yourself are the guru deity. The three become one, you, the guru, and the deity. Then you eat the food as a sog offering. You make an offering of sog. Sog is collection, offering a collection, enjoying the party of dakas and dakinis gathering. Dakas and dakinis are kind of like celestial beings, if you will. Most people have taken a highest yoga tantra initiation, so you see it as a transcendental bliss and voidness. Of course, that is a very secret, as the highest yoga tantra, even to mention the name in the strictest way, cannot mention even the label, the real soga is that. So yeah, so, with tantric initiation, one, it's really, the guru leads you through that practice. So that's why he's not talking about it in public. So yourself as a guru deity, at your heart, there is a syllable hung. Visualize a deity. And the deity here it doesn't have to be a highest yoga tantra. It can be a lower tantra, like medicine Buddha, or, you don't have to have an initiation to do these. At your heart, there's a syllable hung, or visualize a deity, the Thara body mandala, or the Vajrayogini body mandala, or the Heruka body mandala. At your heart, then making offering to that. You don't just become the deity, but the guru. That is the most important one. Then you transform the food and drink into nectar, exactly the same as sog. Then generate great bliss. When you do that, then you collect the highest merit. You're offering it to the guru, so you collect the highest merit. So that's the highest yoga tantra way of doing things. And most of the people at this retreat probably had highest yoga tantra initiation, so it made sense. They knew what he was talking about because they've had the introduction. But in general, in highest yoga tantra, the highest yoga tantra, the mind that we want to achieve is a union of what they call bliss and voidness, right? That's what he talks about here, of bliss and voidness. And voidness being the emptiness of the mind, the emptiness that the mind's nature is, and bliss is the great kind of, the Buddha's mind is one of great bliss, right? They say. right? It just goes, as it says, goes from joy to joy. That's one of the properties of a Buddha's mind, is the Buddha's mind goes from joy to joy. So that's the union of bliss and voidness that he talks about here. And the offering that one makes, and to a Buddha, all doesn't matter whether it's the most expensive and wonderful wine or food or whatever it is, or even just, as Rinpoche says, kaka. It's for them, for their mind, because they don't have attachment. They don't, it's all nectar, right? So for them, any kind of whatever, it's not like if I eat a bad meal, I don't feel very, I'm like, that was kind of awful. I shouldn't have spent money on that, right? But the Buddha, for them, because their mind isn't based on attachment, right? They don't feel like they're, whatever they eat is basically nectar, if you will, right? And so that's what he's talking about here. When we make an offering to the Buddhas, to the Guru, to the deity, or whatever, well, what we're offering is not just ordinary food, right? We're offering essentially nectar, right? And the nectar and we're offering essentially, when we're offering it to the Buddhas and the deities, we're offering it to ourselves, right? That's why, because we are one in tantric tradition, because we act as if we are the deity already, right? We are already the Buddha and the deity and so forth and so on. So we're actually offering it to ourselves, right? The mind, our mind that is clouded at the moment, but in its essence is absolutely pure, just like, and the same as the Buddha's, the mind quality of the mind of a Buddha. So that's what we're doing here. We're offering the nectar to the Guru deity ourselves, and so that we can, we can generate that, we can attain that mind and then be of benefit, right? So that's what he's talking about here. And you don't have to have highest yoga tantra initiation to do this. Like you can, so Rinpoche, so basically, for example, if you have just any guru, you can imagine that the guru is in your heart, right? And so this is all Rinpoche's advice. I'm not just saying it from myself, right? Because he doesn't mention it here. So you imagine the guru in your heart, and if you've had highest yoga tantra initiation, then the guru and the deity and you are one and all that stuff. But in any case, the guru is in your heart, and when you take the first bite, you offer that meal, that to the guru, right, in your heart. And you imagine it's nectar that goes down to your heart, right? So that's kind of the bringing the highest yoga tantra practice into, for someone who hasn't had highest yoga tantra, right? So you don't have to have highest yoga tantra to do these things. So you can imagine so then you're offering to the guru and getting all the same blessings and merit and merits that one would get even, if you had highest yoga tantra initiation. Okay, so then he talks about eating of food offerings made by others. The karma is collected with even small respect, some small praise, or you offer some small help to your parents of this life, then your karma is unbelievably powerful. So you start to experience the happiness in this life. Because parents are considered like a really high field of merit, because they offered the greatest kindness of bringing us to this world. So that's why he's talking about his parents. It is the same if you do some small harm or to hurt your parents, because the negative karma is very heavy. You start to experience the result in this life. Of the three types of karma, this is the one you create in this life and start to experience the result in this life. Then there is karma you create in this life and experience billions or zillions of lives later. Then, more powerful than that, your parents are monks and nuns living in the 36 vows. Then fully ordained monks and fully ordained nuns are even more powerful. Then more powerful than them are the arhats. These are the beings who have a direct perception of emptiness, right? So they are beyond creating negative karma. Then you no longer create negative karma at that point. Then of numberless arhats and one bodhisattva, the one bodhisattva is more powerful than numberless arhats. So he's talking about the different levels of fields of merit, right? It is said that if you look at one bodhisattva with a calm mind, that the merits are far greater than if you make charity of your eyeball to the three realms. There's eye realm, form realm, and formless realm, sentient beings. Looking with a calm mind at a bodhisattva is more merit than making charity of your eyeball to them, because his bodhicitta is so powerful. If you look at one bodhisattva like this, glaring, then the negative karma is more heavy than taking out the eyeballs of all the sentient beings of the three realms. Then of numberless bodhisattvas, okay, so the next level up is of numberless bodhisattvas and one Buddha. Of numberless bodhisattvas and one Buddha, the Buddha is more powerful. Then of numberless Buddhas and the Guru is the most powerful. So the highest merit you can collect is that with the Guru. Then there is unbelievable purification. It is the most powerful. For those who are not living in pure vows, so this means that I think it just means that, people who might have, if you have a negative motivation, I don't think it means that if you don't have lay vows or whatever. That's what I was originally thinking, but I don't think that's it. So for those who are not, who don't have correct motivation or incorrect motivation, living in pure vow, then eating offerings made by other sentient beings with devotion become like poison. If you do the tantric yoga of eating with yourself as a guru deity and bless the food and then eat it this way, it doesn't become poison. It becomes a means of collecting extensive merits of purification. Then the other one is soga offering. Then the other is like when you do fire. Okay, so then he talks about fire, burning, offering practice, etc. That's not necessarily important here. But basically, what's important is to make the offerings, whatever offering we make, to make it thinking of the Guru, right? Guru, and then if you have tantric initiation, then the Guru and the deity and you are one, and so forth and so on. So that's the key I think he's trying to get to here. And then he mentions the parents, and then the monk, monastics, and then the arhats, bodhisattvas, and Buddhas, and the Guru, so those. That's why he talks about why we make an offering to the Guru is because they're the highest, merit field to make offerings to. Something that came to mind, but it went away. So, any questions before we wrap up? Okay, so we'll do our. So next time we're going to talk about. Next time maybe short. We'll see. Is on Tonglen. Give Tonglen mindfulness. So that's the practice of taking and giving, right? The taking of the suffering of all sentient beings and giving them all our virtue, goodness, and so forth and so on, right? So that's that practice. So we'll talk about that next time. Let's finish with our dedication prayer. Okay. Okay. Oh, wrong one. Okay. So let's think about, we did some really virtuous things today because we listened to Rinpoche's words, because he's such a holy being, who's only working for our benefit. And so he's a guiding example for us. So, so I'm sure it inspired us. So that, that's a great benefit to us, to others. So with that in mind, due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all living beings without exception into that enlightened state. May the supreme jewel Bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more. And we'll end with Lamazopa's prayer. And we can think of all our gurus. When we're doing this long life prayer, we can think of all our other gurus, His Holiness, and because they're all in the essence, they're all the same. So we dedicate all, so we pray for all their long lives. You who uphold the subduer's moral way, who serve as the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Manjunath's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplishes magnificent prayers honoring the three jewels, Savior of myself and others, your disciples, please, please live long. Okay, well, thank you very much. Hopefully I didn't bore you. So we'll meet again, hopefully next time. And I think next week, there is something else going on next week. So we don't have this class next week, I think, but I think we have it the week after. So be cognizant of that. Let me check
That's right.
Yeah. So I think the next time we meet is on the 23rd. Same time, same bat channel. So yeah. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful weekend and a couple of weeks. Till next time.